Hi, welcome to my show, Ethical Social Networking, a show designed to transform this world swiftly to a place of peace, joy, and prosperity for all. If we only would unite into 1-10-100 citizen networks. By getting 10 people in a week, we can then have those 10 people do likewise the following week, and then in 2 weeks we'll have our 1-10-100 network. And in 3 weeks there'll be 1,000, then 10,000, then 100,000, then 1 million, then 10 million, 100 million, in 8 weeks, 100 million. The entire United States could be united to replace any congressperson who won't require the well-off to invest in their own houses, to make them super insulated, to make them solarized, weatherized. It's doable. We would just require Congress to require the well-off who make high income to invest just 10% of their pre-tax income on the top 10%. Would bring in $460 billion every year for American renewable energy independence, starting first with the houses of the rich to make them super insulated, to make them keep the heat in the winter and heat out in the summer. There's so many possibilities to take this wealth. They can still speculate, they can still live lavishly, but they have to spend a small part, just 10% of income. That's $400 billion or $460 billion from the top 10% of American households, and another, just 1% of their net worth, another $400 billion from the top 10%. So we can get between $800 and $900 billion every year to make America renewable energy independent. If only you would get off the fence and tell every congressperson, starting with the senators first, you can go to Google and just put in email of, and what comes back? Senators? Congressmen. And you can find out who your congressman is, who your senators are, and email them or telephone them saying, if you do not require the well-off or require the wealthy to invest in their own houses to make them super insulated, weatherized, solarized, and to invest in renewable energy projects, then I'm going to work to replace you. That's what I told people who I have a lot of respect for. I mean, they're caught up in their little intrigues. But let's break out of these Mickey Mouse gains and make a huge gain from the wealth of this country by using a little bit of it wisely to rebuild America and create the solar age now, not many years away. Right now, at the rate we're going, it'll take 20 years to make 20% of our electricity from renewable energy. But if the rich would put up just $300 billion, we're talking about we can get $900 billion, but if they put $300 billion for renewable energy in terms of making electricity, in 10 years we could, of 300 billion a year, we can have all our electricity from renewable energy. Right now, 50% of our electricity comes from coal that is melting the ice caps. So our children will be underwater 22 feet just from Greenland. But there are other ice caps too, will even be higher. So this is such a simple way to stop it, by really investing in what we need. Right now, Congress has tied up, they're in the pockets of the rich, the lobbyists and lawyers, are maintaining the status quo, which is to keep us tied to the past. We don't need coal, we don't need oil, and not even natural gas. If we really mobilized, it's a question of mobilizing. You getting off your duff, getting off the fence, and telling everybody you talk to, you know, here's a great idea. The rich got the money, have them invested in their own lives, their own houses. They don't care if heat leaks out and heat comes in, and you know, they can afford to waste the energy. They're wasting their lives with all the speculation and lavish living, so wasting energy doesn't mean anything to them. So, will you stand up and talk to everybody you meet? Here's a great idea. What do you think of it? To have the rich invest in their own lives. But they're not going to do it unless we ask Congress to do it. And if Congress won't require the rich to invest in their own houses to make them super insulated, then we should tell the congressman. That's what I did. I told Chuck Schumer, Kristen Gillibrand, and Gerald Nadler. Even though I have respect for all of them, I told them, if you do not make this a priority, where you're talking about it. I wrote them in February. And I hadn't heard a peep out of them. So you got to tell them, put their feet to the fire. Which is, I'll work against you and find people who will talk about requiring the wealthy to invest in renewable energy. Here's the part that I sent an email today. I'm making the show on the 1st of October, 2009. I'm making it for Thursday, October 8th. See? However, if you don't make a priority to require the well-off to invest in making their homes significantly energy independent of fossil fuels, then I will work to replace you with someone who will. And we should all tell that. If you don't do it, I'm going to work and find someone who will do it. If we all raised our voice in that way, right now, the top 1% are ruling the country. I mean, they have 35% of all the wealth. And the next 10%, or 33% of the wealth. The next 9%, the top 10% have over 70% of all the wealth in this country. And the bottom 90% has about 28% of the wealth. So the rich have accumulated all this wealth and they control the country. And we can get some control back of this enormous wealth they have. And I call that economic fairness. So you can call it economic justice. By not taking a penny away, but just requiring them to rebuild America. You know? And so a lot of these things will have to become history, like the horse and buggy, because they're just destructive.